Just 12 individuals have, at any point, set their feet on the moon. The first of these was U.S. astronaut Neil Armstrong, on July 21, 1969. He remarked on the moment he set foot on our satellite for the first time with the iconic words, "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." However, were these 12 people actually the only ones to leave footprints on the moon? Thanks to NASA's unexplained records, we now know there is at least one piece of evidence suggesting other footprints on the moon that were clearly not left by humans. So, who else could have been on the moon? We explore this astonishing question in this video. But before we show you the photos of these strange footprints on the moon, we'd like to invite you to subscribe to our channel, turn on notifications, and give us a like at the end of the video if you enjoy it. Now, we will show you what was discovered on the moon that left NASA scientists utterly stunned. Mysterious footprints on the moon. The moon is a celestial body that is dry, dusty, and completely free of wind or erosion. There is absolute silence, and effects caused by humans in the 1960s are bound to still be visible for millennia. Since 1969, 12 individuals have officially left footprints on the lunar surface, the last of whom were Apollo 17 astronauts Harrison Schmitt and Eugene Cernan. Thanks to the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, LRO, NASA experts have been able to identify a series of footprints on the moon that are clearly not from Apollo astronauts. The incredible images show a series of tracks stretching over 100 meters that are undeniably not of human origin. How do researchers know this? The answer is simple. The tracks are far too large for a human to have made them. But who, or what, could have left them? NASA scientists and spokespersons, who are usually quick to provide explanations, were initially perplexed. NASA simply doesn't know. Thus, these strange footprints were added to NASA's unexplained files, a collection of observations and events surrounding NASA missions and space exploration that defy explanation. The discovery of the tracks. This collection of unexplained phenomena has fascinated amateur astronomers and UFO enthusiasts for decades. The mysterious files of the U.S. Space Agency have archived countless observations that scientists are hesitant to discuss publicly, things that should not, in theory, exist. During NASA's last Apollo missions, astronauts Harrison Schmitt and Eugene Cernan allegedly found evidence suggesting the presence of extraterrestrials on the moon. For safety reasons, NASA did not return to the moon, canceling planned missions. The official explanation was that lunar exploration had been exhausted and the Apollo missions had become too costly. Footage from Schmitt and Cernan's visit shows them joyfully hopping around the lunar surface, which Schmitt humorously referred to as his version of the moonwalk. The astronauts also left their tracks as they traversed nearly 30 miles in their lunar rover. These tracks are still visible today, as evidenced by LRO images taken in 2009. But LRO images revealed something else. About 19 miles away from Schmitt and Cernan's tracks lies a mysterious path in the lunar dust. Attempts to explain the tracks. After these images surfaced, researchers tried to make sense of the tracks. Lunar geologist Benjamin Weiss was among the first to comment, suggesting that the footprints might be an optical illusion. He speculated that the tracks were indications of some sort of geological activity. But what kind of geological phenomenon could create such a track? Weiss did not have a definitive answer. One thing is certain, the tracks could not have come from human footsteps, as they are far too large. Weiss's explanation seemed plausible initially, but the moon today has very little geological activity. All visible craters are the result of asteroid or comet impacts. The moon lacks plate tectonics, earthquakes, or erosion. The serpentine shape of the track also challenges the theory that a small meteorite might have bounced upon impact. Geologists later proposed that the tracks could have been caused by an underground lava tube collapsing billions of years ago when the moon was still geologically active. Because tracks on the moon remain relatively unchanged for millions or billions of years, this explanation seemed credible. Scientists then began searching for similar phenomena on other moons or on Earth. They eventually found a comparable feature, not in the cosmos but here on Earth. One researcher noted the striking similarity between the lunar tracks and a well-known natural phenomenon in Northern California. Just 12 individuals have, at any point, set their feet on the moon. The first of these was U.S. astronaut Neil Armstrong, on July 21, 1969. He remarked on the moment he set foot on our satellite with the incredible words, "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." However, were these 12 individuals really the only ones to leave footprints on the moon? Thanks to NASA's unexplained records, we now know there is at least one piece of evidence suggesting other footprints on the moon, footprints that were clearly not left by humans. So, who else could have been on the moon? We explore this astonishing question in this video. But before we show you the photos of the strange footprints on the moon, we would like to invite you to subscribe to our channel, activate the notification bell, and give us a like at the end of the video if you enjoyed it. Now, let's show you what NASA scientists found on the moon that left them utterly baffled. Unfamiliar, mysterious footprints on the moon. The moon is a celestial body that is dry, dusty, and completely free from winds or erosion. It is a place of total silence, where traces left by humans during the 1960s are still visible to this day and likely will remain so for millennia. Since 1969, only 12 individuals have officially left footprints on the lunar surface, the last of whom were Apollo 17 astronauts Harrison Schmitt and Eugene Cernan. Thanks to the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, NASA scientists have been able to detect a series of footprints on the moon that are clearly not from Apollo astronauts. The incredible images show a sequence of tracks stretching over 100 meters, tracks that are unquestionably not of human origin. How do the researchers know this? The answer is simple. The tracks are far too large for humans to have made them. So, who or what created them? Here, even NASA scientists, typically quick to provide explanations, were left puzzled. These mysterious footprints became part of NASA's unexplained files, a collection of observations and incidents surrounding NASA missions that have defied conventional understanding. These records have long intrigued amateur astronomers, UFO enthusiasts, and scientists interested in the unusual. What did Harrison Schmitt and Eugene Cernan see on the moon? A serious mystery has developed over the past decades regarding NASA's final Apollo missions. Allegedly, astronauts discovered evidence of extraterrestrial activity on the moon. For safety reasons, it is claimed, NASA decided not to return to the moon despite having planned further missions. NASA, however, dismisses such claims, stating that lunar exploration was halted because the moon's study had been largely exhausted, and the Apollo missions had become too costly. During their visit, astronauts Harrison Schmitt and Eugene Cernan captured numerous film recordings. These show Schmitt joyfully hopping on the lunar surface, a movement he later referred to as his personal version of the moonwalk. Other footage depicts the two astronauts driving their lunar rover across nearly 30 miles of the moon's surface. Due to lower gravity and bulky spacesuits, movement and controlling the vehicle were particularly challenging for the astronauts, despite years of training on Earth. Apart from the desolate lunar landscape, Schmitt and Cernan reported no extraordinary or extraterrestrial encounters. The traces they left, their footprints and the rover's tracks, remain visible to this day. In 2009, the rover tracks were still clearly observable in images taken by the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter. But those same images revealed something else. About 19 miles away from the tracks of Schmitt, Cernan, and other NASA astronauts lies a puzzling trail through the lunar dust. First attempts at an explanation. When these images became public, scientists made efforts to explain the discovery. One of the first to comment was lunar geologist Benjamin Weiss. He suggested that the supposed footprints were likely an optical illusion, appearing as tracks but actually being some form of geological activity. But what geological phenomenon on the moon could create such a trail? The moon geologist couldn't say for sure. One thing is certain, however. The trail couldn't have come from human feet, as the steps are far too large. Weiss's theory seemed plausible at first, but it raised questions. Today, the moon exhibits very little geological activity. Most craters originate from asteroid or comet impacts. The moon lacks plate tectonics, earthquakes, and erosion. Furthermore, the serpentine shape of the trail challenges the explanation. Could a small meteorite have bounced after its impact? Later, geologists proposed a more convincing explanation. The impressions were likely caused by an underground tunnel system formed billions of years ago when the Moon experienced volcanic activity. Because traces on the Moon remain largely unchanged for millions, even billions, of years, this theory seemed plausible. Eager to find similar phenomena, scientists turned their attention to other moons and dusty terrains, like Mars. Surprisingly, they didn't find the answers in the cosmos but right here on Earth. One researcher noted striking similarities between the lunar impressions and a well-known natural phenomenon in Northern California.